Bethany says, we need some
You need what?
We need a different Friday song.
It's just getting old. Like, it's been done.
We need some rap. Like some 90s.
Yeah,
Well,
like a DMX, like a woo woo. You know what I mean? Something. Just on the Friday music.
that's your homework.
Okay.
I mean, it's been 3 years with this song. It's
Right.
fine.
That's a long time.
It's fine. I'm good with change. It hasn't struck me as it hasn't burned me out, but yeah, come with some suggestions,
Okay, I'll
and
make a playlist.
I will submit it to the council, and we'll see what they say.
What?
Deal.
What is the council?
You're looking at them. Alex has a story with boat police to get to, but I want to bring you up to speed on something quickly.
Okay.
Alexandria, today, as I do, I'm probably the only person, maybe besides Fred over at SPD. Nobody reads more news stuff here than I do.
I agree with that.
So I was.
You have a lot of free time on your hands. I think that's the reason.
But it's work stuff too.
And what he
feel that.
chooses to fill his free time with is very specific to him.
True.
And
Quite true.
I'm an infovore.
I need like a.
What?
Listen, for the audience that can't see me right now, I am vertically
You
challenged.
little.
And maybe I walked in and this chair was like about at my eye level. And so I put it down, but now I think I need to go back up because I can't, I have to look through the microphone stand to see Eric's face.
Hello.
How's that?
Better
Okay,
now?
that's better.
Do you
Yeah.
want a phone book? For those that don't know what that is.
I happen to have
A booster
And-
seat.
Yeah.
Is it orthopedic
You guys
if
can
it's for
share.
your
You
back?
can share one with your daughter.
Those.
Oh, the donut?
I have it's kind of like a donut, but it's for my car that I sit on. And it's not to give me height, although that is a benefit, but it is to help my back.
I heard they use them for BBLs nowadays. BBL
Probably. If you're dumb enough to do that, you need that.
So I was on 13 ABC's website this morning reading a story. I think I told you one of the kids that was shot last weekend was a TSA alum.
Yeah.
Right down the road. I think it's in those apartments. If you go down Burn towards
Hunter's
Door.
Ridge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Are you okay? I know it keeps falling down.
I just continue.
Okay. So Willie Daniely the third wrote a story about TSA morning lost their student.
I'm guessing he's an intern.
No, he's just a new kid.
Okay.
Welcome.
He wrote
Wait
this
for it.
wonderful story, and he got a quote from the development director, Steve Gerke.
Poor thing.
So I said that I showed Bethany, and you did meet Gerke.
I've met Gerke like 3 times.
So I could have put it out there and been like, this is one of 5 people's names in the city that you've got to get right because everybody knows him. Do you want to read that?
Yeah, I'm a slow reader.
You can read it. You can read it on the mic.
Sound it out, Bethany.
So he says, I bring it up because he's one of the few names around Toledo or around town whose names you have to get right. He's a fantastic guy, but he still gives me shit because I broke up with an ex-student of his. I don't want you feeling his humorous wrath. He said, oh, thanks for letting me know. I fixed it. Sure thing.
You don't
Sorry.
have to read the rest.
Okay.
So he got Gerke's name wrong?
He did.
Yeah.
Well, he also said instead of what he said died instead of
Passed away?
oh he was pronounced it should have been he was pronounced dead, but it was he was pronounced died.
Oh,
and I was
poor
like,
thing.
"Oh, honey. It's okay.
Oh.
He'll get it. He'll get it."
They're Eric Chase level typos with a lot of young journalists these days because of the haste they have to do these stories. So
But Kirky was like, "Dude, I gave him a business card."
So wait, he knows his name was misspelled?
Well, I sent it. I sent what you sent to me. I sent what you sent me to Gerke.
And I sent
he
you a
was,
picture, right?
Yeah.
So that's forever.
Maybe he was on a deadline and he was like,
Maybe. But I was like, you had his business card, bro? Come on, bro.
Willie is his name?
Yes.
Willie.
I mean, no, not William? Like Willie?
Well, it's probably William.
Ah.
He goes by Willie, maybe.
Willie?
If you're a third, you're William the third. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Anyways, it's okay, buddy. You'll get it right the next time.
Is there anybody else in this city whose name you've got to get right? And the mayor doesn't count. because he knows everybody screws his name up.
I mean, you would think Wade Capsicavage, but nobody's saying that name right.
Yeah, nah.
And nobody's
Not
spelling
at
it
all.
right.
I don't know.
Opal Covey, you better have that
Opal,
right.
Yeah.
How could you screw that up?
Covey.
Covey,
That's what I thought it was.
Opal,
if I'm being
Oprah.
honest.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Somebody will mess it
There are
up.
a couple, but Gerke's at the top of that list.
It's pretty simple.
Can you tell us why you were pulled over in your kayak?
Well, did you not know this story?
No,
I-
can't wait.
Oh my God. I took my kayak out for the first time all season.
Your personal kayak. You purchased a kayak.
2
Not a
years
rental,
ago. Yeah.
your kayak.
Mine.
Okay,
It's
continue.
in my garage. We have legitimately been trying since June to take our kayaks out. My 2 girlfriends and I go out, and our weekends just never line up. And it finally lined up, and it was a beautiful day. And so we said, let's go down to the river. Downtown is getting more kayak launches that are coming in. The Glass City, though, isn't done yet, so we weren't able to use that one. So I had to sneak into.
Middle Grounds has one though, right?
No, it's closed. But yes, they do
That
have one.
little
Cove?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's closed. It's always closed, and it's
Dang, I
it's
didn't know
not
that.
cleaned very well. So that might be why it's closed.
Yeah, that's a dirty little spot. So where did you jump out at?
International Park, where the
Yeah, makes sense.
where the rowing club is.
Yeah.
But I don't think we were allowed to, because they had these ropes up that kind of stops you. But we did it anyway.
Oh.
And I know we did
Well.
it, but that's not why we got pulled over. And it's kind of scary. You get out there on the Maumee, and when you're just standing there, the Maumee is okay, a nice river. But when you're on a kayak, you're that's 20 minutes across the. It's
Yeah,
going to
no,
take
it's
me
gonna
that
take you.
long, and these boats are just flying by. Right? Well, not really, because they can't go that fast in that area. But we're still in their way. Kayakers don't get as much respect as they should. Somebody please take a picture. Please.
I'm good.
Look at
Continue.
her.
I'm gonna get it.
We took the kayaks out, and we took it from International Park up to the river wall and putzed around.
Damn.
And then came back. So
That's far.
we
Yeah.
were out for about 4 hours, which isn't bad, because when we went down to Hocking Hills, we were on the river for 6.
Yeah.
But that river had a flow. The Maumee does not. We had to move ourselves, right? And then when the
But it's
boats,
easier when you're coming back.
it was easier coming back. Yeah. And then just making sure that the boats and their wakes don't tip us. But we were on the way back, and we were almost, I got pulled over right at Hamburger Mary's, and all we had to do was go right to International Park, right there. And I looked across the way, and I said, that looks like the Coast Guard. And I'm here. I'm going towards Lake Erie, going towards Hamburger Mary's, towards Glass City Metro Park, and the Coast Guard is going in the opposite direction across the river. And I see them turn and cut straight for us. They turned their lights on.
Oh, they're coming for you.
They came straight for us. They turned their lights on, and they're like, "Hey, how you doing?" And it was a bunch of late 20s, early 30s, white guys, with the porn stash and
Oh,
glasses.
no. They think they're on Baywatch.
I mean, they weren't I wouldn't say that they were nice, but they weren't bothered by us, if that makes any sense. And they're like, "So, do you guys have registration?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it's on my registration is on my boat." So I'm like, "Yeah, but it's over here." So I would have had to turn all the way around. And so, what are you doing? Where are you going? Where did you come in at?
What is this? Reynolds and Heather's Downs at 2 a.m.?
And then
That's what I'm saying.
they did have a reason to pull us over. We didn't have our life jackets, but Ohio law, you don't have to have
You just have to have it on the boat,
which
right?
which I did, all stuffed all the way to
So
where
maybe
my
they didn't
feet
see it.
were. So what? Every boat driving past didn't have on a life jacket. So my girlfriend was freaking out, and she's like, "What's going on? What's going on?" I was like, "They're pulling us over, Christina." And Christina's Mexican. And I'm like, "Christina, they're pulling us over." I had my fro out. I didn't even have it in a bun. Not that it matters. But
Yes, it does.
she's like, what's happening? And I was like, "They're pulling us over. Wait a minute." She's like, "What?" And then they asked us a couple questions. And then they started to follow us. So then they're like, "Where are you headed?" And we're like, "We're right at International Park. We're done. We're about to leave." And then they started to follow us for a minute, and then like I looked back and they were still like putzing around behind us, and then they turned around.
Damn, like if you didn't say anything about kayak or river, this would be like any other police stop, pulling over the color people.
It was
wild.
I said
funny.
color. I didn't say the ED
whatever.
in the end.
It was just funny. Like it was kind of like, and my one girlfriend was completely oblivious, and I'm like, they're pulling us over, Christina, like checking our shit.
I mean, I guess to give them the benefit of the doubt, like maybe because there were a bunch of boats out and it was like you guys are just on kayaks. Maybe they didn't right away see your life jacket. Just like making sure that you were being safe. You know what I'm saying?
Didn't have our life jackets on.
Excellent rationale.
Yeah, I mean, making sure you're not intoxicated.
I
Like
wasn't
it
upset.
could have been more of a safety
It was
thing.
just funny. Like I wasn't upset at all.
Why didn't you have your life jacket on?
You don't have to have it on. You just have to have it like on. I wouldn't have it on.
I'm a skilled swimmer.
Yeah, I'm a good swimmer too. I don't wear
But
it.
as you just mentioned, like it will take you a time to go from one bank of the river to the other. Like
Not swimming. Not for me.
Not if you're already hugging the one side.
No, but if you go from like, if you're at Hamburger Mary's and you want to go over to ProMedica, it does take you a fair amount of time. But not in the way that I grew up swimming.
I could still do it. Yeah, I could swim.
people underestimate water all the time.
Don't disagree. However, I think it's fine.
The dogs didn't go with you, right?
Oh hell no! They would have jumped out the boat a long time ago. No, they would surpass the weight limit anyway.
Because of Sunny.
I feel that.
Petey's about the same.
I do want to try to take our dogs kayaking because I think at least Gus would enjoy it.
You can
I feel
borrow
like
mine.
Tucker would enjoy it eventually, but not like we're not going to take him on the Maumee. Like we'd take him up to come see where it's
You gotta
flat
practice.
water.
There's some ponds around that have launches. Like so, the Three Meadows pond right off of 75 and Route 20 has a kayak launch now. It's a tiny little pond, but it's a practice one in my opinion. So
Is that the one that's like out White House?
no, it's like it's right where Bass Pro,
Okay, there's
In
one
that
out like
area.
in White House area that my aunt and I went to. That's like a nice little pond.
Silver Rock is
What's
really nice too.
What's the one that we passed on 475 north and south? Is that like that apartment complex's pond?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so it was interesting. I really wanted to get out there on the river. It's tough. Like I was glad I did it because I got my arm exercise in for the day for sure.
Yeah, it'd be no joke.
But it was and then there's like, you know where the river bends, and that's right when you're coming up on the river wall, it like bends over.
Yep.
So we were hovering along the edge because of boats, and we come up and then we turn and all we see is Canadian geese, like just chilling in the water in their like living area by the Andersons, and we just disrupted them and all hell broke loose.
Oh no!
It's like, oh my god!
But they didn't come. They just like flew away.
Yeah, they
like it
flew
was like the birds, Alfred Hitchcock style. Yeah.
Yeah, she's had this thing for a couple of years now.
We keep like I would love to own
Come and get
kayaks.
it, yeah.
But like I don't know where we would store them. They're not that expensive. And I think maybe that would give us an excuse to like do it more because
That's
we
true.
really, really like it, but we just rent every time we go. But I think if we had one, my aunt has like she has two, they can be used as a kayak, but it's like a paddleboard style where it blows up and it's just flat. Like
yeah.
you sit on it. So I've done that with her, but I think it'd be cool to get
Mine
kayaks.
is stored in the garage, so I just have 2 straps, and I put in the straps and then pull them up, and then it stores up.
Yeah.
So
Josh could move some of his tools and probably make some space, right?
I mean, probably.
Or can you keep them outside, or will the weather damage them? too
No, I
much?
would keep
Damage
it.
them.
Yeah, I would keep it. Oh, we could put it in the shed, I guess. I don't know. But we keep thinking about it.
yeah,
I love kayaking.
If you ladies had won Mega Millions, where would you be right now?
Not here. No, that's a lie. I'd be here.
I'd be here.
I appreciate that.
Why?
I honestly don't think I would change anything about my life or lifestyle except for the fact that all of our debt, all of my family's debt would be paid. TSA would have an endowment to pay its teachers the correct amount.
The building would have your name on it.
That's true.
I mean,
If you took the payout's like $300 million.
For what he just won,
Yeah,
it was 7. The payment was 700 million.
a lot.
I
But what I'm saying is that like I would just sit on that and just make it make money for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because you should. There was somebody who was talking about it. you should never take the
Payments.
the payments because of inflation. It loses value. Now, look, if you struggle with that, I don't know what you have done. You have bet some very bad football games because you're talking.
You
about
need an accountant and a financial planner.
But okay, but I was talking with somebody about this yesterday, and would you not be? I would be afraid. I don't know any Oprah level people or like Beyonce and Jay-Z level people. I don't even know. Are there any advisors that I could even trust with that amount of money?
You know what? There are some people, even in this tri-state area, that have that much money. You could find somebody.
Some of the houses,
I'd be afraid.
There are people with a lot.
I'd just go door
money.
to door in the neighborhood where I feel like they might be able to help me.
I think we talked about it here, right? At least I did it on the show.
Go at Aunt Randy Ostra. I'd be like, yo, who's your finance guy?
Yeah, there's people.
I mean,
and
Katie Holmes.
I wouldn't be surprised if the lottery commission has connections as well. Maybe, maybe not.
I don't know that I would trust them.
I'd get a bigger place.
I'd be like, give me references.
Yeah, definitely.
Toledo School for the Arts in Urbanski. Fry.
No. But you know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna like go make lavish purchases. Like, I just want to know I have that much money.
I might get a pontoon.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not a bad idea. Or like a paddle boat.
Can I tell you something? You similarly to how you underestimate water, your lifestyle would change. I guarantee it.
Underestimate. Well, he just keeps sticking with that.
But I don't want it to change drastically. Like, I'm not gonna buy this palatial house and buy like 5 cars. Like, what do I need that for?
But
I want to know that I don't have to worry about money for the rest of my life.
And
that's like, just the comfort of that is all I need. I don't need the stuff. I just want to know that I don't have to work and live paycheck to paycheck anymore.
Money, like alcohol, drugs, will twist and bend your mind because, you know, like there are broke athletes who think you will continue to get $8 million a year for your entire life, and by the time you're 26, you're broke. Now they're making poor decisions, and hopefully they have better advisors now, but money can twist your brain, especially when you're talking like $500 million or $300 million.
I don't know.
You're getting the hell off Hill Avenue.
Because honestly, in the back of my mind, I'm like, that's really not even that much money. I still think to myself, like, could I live on that for the rest of my life?
Divided by
I don't
80.
know. I'm just
years.
like, is it that much money? I don't know. Like, you say
It's a
that,
lot of
but
money.
in the back of my mind, I'm like,
But then
it still isn't
also-
that much money.
But then also, where do you draw the line for like what family you help and what you don't? Who you help and who you don't? You know what I mean? Like, do you mom, brothers, sister, but then I have 6 aunts on my dad's side, and I only have 1 on my mom's side.
Yeah, you need a smaller family.
And you know what I mean? So it's like, where do you draw the line? Or do
Right.
you just put aside like a couple $100,000 a year, and this is if family needs something?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Bethany, let's say you make $57,000 a year.
Don't, but thanks for thinking I did.
Times.
Thanks for thinking that's what I'm worth.
So $57,000 a year times 30 years, and whatever, this is ballpark, $1.7 million.
Right.
$300 million.
But I have a husband and I have a kid. And by the time, first of all,
And your kid will have a kid?
ask me again when she's 18. But at this point, I'm going to be like, listen, honey,
Well,
we're going
wait.
to find a vocation.
That's
Because I can't imagine what college is going to cost by then.
I give you the number you make, so that's what you'd have to keep it under, and we can add Josh, so we'll double it. We'll call it. We call it $3 million. So you and Josh, as adults, would make $3 million in your jobs. You would have 100 times that with the lottery win. So your lifestyle would very much change because people like us, we will be millionaires over the course of our working lives. We will have spent $1 million, but we will never have accumulated that much in total.
Yeah.
Some people accumulate that in a year.
Can you imagine that?
Must be nice.
The amount of money, right? You said over my lifetime, I'll make $1 million. There are people that make that in a handshake. I can't. I want to throw up.
With a Facebook ad.
The Washington Nationals player that just got traded to the Padres, the reason he got traded was he turned down a 15-year, $440 million deal. If
bonkers.
If he waits till he's a free agent in 2.5 more years, he is probably with the way the money market goes, he could get $600 million. Tiger Woods turned down. Do you guys know about the golf drama?
Yes.
There's a tour.
I saw some
in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, it's supported by
I didn't read it.
Saudi oil barons.
Phil Mickelson's involved in that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's called Live. And they've lured golfers away, and there's been some ethical questions because the people who run it are possibly the ones that killed that Washington Post journalist. But it's hard to say no to money.
Khashoggi.
Yeah. They asked Tiger, and Greg Norman said they offered him like $800 million. First of all, Tiger doesn't need any money, but he also believes in legacy. But we all have our price as normal human beings. But you're right. I mean, when we think about rich people, for me it's sports. These numbers fly around my head all the time. But for you guys, you think about like CEOs, Randy Ostra, and what they make and things like that. But the sums of money, again, I just told you guys will make $3 million over the course of your lifetime. Somebody has how many ever zeros after that 3 after last week? Some schmuck in Illinois.
Can't believe it.
Trust me, they're getting off Hill Avenue too.
Can't believe it. Does everybody play? Like, did you play?
I did.
I played. Did you and Josh, like, so if we win, like, did you have this, like, weird thing in your brain that back in the day where I thought I was going to date an NSYNC member? Like, did you have that?
I mean, I thought about it. But I thought about it, but we didn't have the discussion because I'm like, first of all, it's going to jinx it. Second of all, the likelihood is.
I'm like, intuition? No. Is that you? Like, willing it into existence?
Right.
Manifest?
Jerry came in here and he's like, yeah, I think they pulled some tickets around here. And he was asking, like, would you have done it? I was like, no. And I think Jerry got in on it too. He's like, man, if I won, I'd be like, yeah, I'd help you. If he had the winning ticket in the group, I'd be like, yeah, I'll help you kill the other 10 people and give me the cut.
I do still, however, have to. I might have made like $2 on my. I didn't check to see if it was worth anything. But
I paid
doubt
$15 worth of lotto.
I did 20.
Oh, okay. Well, good. You did more than me.
Yeah. I actually did 30 because I think I put 10 in the work.
Thomas played
pool
some too.
This is the very first time I'm thinking of like what I would do. And the list would be so long.
See, Thomas and I obviously were talking about it, and he has like his like absolutely have to have. I've got to have a Hellcat, and I've got to have, his motorcycle that he wants. And I'm just like, I'd just like a new car, and I'd like a house, and like I want to help my family. And that's really it. But on the scale of things, that's like $500,000, like total.
This is my point.
That's like $500,000.
That's why your lifestyle would absolutely change, because it's like it's like the rookie that buys his mom a house and he realizes how much money he has left, and then you buy a car, and then you buy another car. It just kind of spirals.
Go ahead.
In this case, you're spending that. So what we were saying was like the immediate needs, the things that we would splurge. So how would your life be different? Maybe $500,000 worth of items, and then the rest is just we just live a normal life. So you know what I mean?
Then you have like $299.5 million left.
Correct. Like I wouldn't get $1 million house. I'd get a $250,000 house. Like for me, that's a lot of money, and I get that way. I'm in like a decent neighborhood and a decent school system, decent size most likely, and I upgrade it as the style changes. Like, you know what I mean? But that's it. Like I don't need to leave. You know what I mean? Do I need a lake house up in Michigan? Maybe not. I could just rent one.
You talked about like who in your family do you help though?
Yeah.
And again, like I'm not questioning the character of either of you. Obviously, I'm just saying like these things, a sum of money that large can truly distort your life. I mean, it might be the kind of thing where you have to move somewhere that is far away from people. I mean, it is lifetimes changing of money.
I'd make people sign NDAs.
You could.
I would. Honest to God, you could. You two would be in an NDA. But my brother was in North Carolina, and their corner stores closed, and he was like, "It closed. I couldn't play. Let me get $2 million." Like it was just like I'm like, all right, fine. He said per family member. No, sir.
No. You can fill out a grant application. and we will read them once a year.
There you go.
The other idea of the sum of money, at least when I think about it, and even the Randy Osters, that deal that player declined. I think there's some baseball players make like $30 or $37 million a year. That's phenomenal. They also probably only get less than half of that with the tax bracket, but still they'll manage. But the point being, those deals are that one deal, $450 million over 15 years. This schmuck in Illinois just got that in 7 seconds.
That's true. It for the rest of his life, it's ridiculous.
Lives.
Okay, fine. How old is he? Do we know?
This person will never. I don't know if I mentioned this to you when we were talking about this last week, because I was telling Bethany, you can leave your job and you can go buy a new job each day. Let's say you won. You and Thomas wouldn't have to work. And if Thomas wants to be a police officer, he can call up Chief Crawl and go, Chief, I'm going to write you a $50,000 check to let me be a cop for a week. And he's going to say no? No!
No, we would still work. We would.
So there's two schools of thought, right? Because when you're saying that makes me think, that by the time you die, you have this much money to spend. My brain goes, this amount of money has to last forever and ever and ever and ever and ever.
Right.
So how much am I allotted
Bethany,
to be spent?
This is Brewster's Millions, I think. It was an 80s movie with Richard Pryor. I think I have to look it up, but he had to spend an X amount of dollars in X amount of days, or else he would lose.
That's stressful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bethany, you couldn't spend $300 million.
And
but she doesn't want to.
This is
so maybe she wants $60 million.
This is all why I go to a therapist, right? Because half of my mental health issues revolve around money. So I think I would be back asswards. I would get more frugal with more money.
Same.
I would be like, no, I need to protect this. I need to protect this.
Because you want your generations to use this money.
Right. I have to save it.
And once you invest a large chunk of that, it will go on forever. Mm-hmm. Because if you think about it, you're talking 1%, 2% on $50 million. Your descendants, even as prices rise, will still be able to live on that amount of money from that interest.
Eric's going to be your financial advisor.
Apparently.
And I know
Magic Mike who?
I know exactly who it is who won. The person in Illinois that went off the grid.
Oh, for sure.
All of a sudden, Steve just left his house.
Steve took a week off vacation.
He wasn't murdered. He won the lottery, and he is now in a non-extradited country or in Switzerland. That's exactly who won.
I mean, just for safety reasons, I could see let's go somewhere for a couple weeks.
I think there was
just
somebody
lay
that
low.
got robbed and killed for once after they hit the lotto in Georgia or something.
There's a little bit of hide and seek you got to play. I think for a while.
I might call the CIA and go, hey, that button all the prep people are worried about, where they think you're going to nuke them. It's about the Social Security number. So what I want you to do is delete that Social Security number of mine.
Right.
Speaking of long lifetimes, this is something that you'll both have to deal with. So you already have. Well, my dad's girlfriend's daughter, who had battled MS her whole life, died a couple weeks ago.
Ugh.
My dad is very cognizant of life and all that stuff. I remember the first time he came to visit me here, it was 2013. He gave me this document of where everything is in case something happened. And it was kind of jarring. Now I'm far more used to it. But he saw what Terry had to go through with all the funeral arrangements and stuff like that. And my dad today went to wherever and he made pre-funeral arrangements so that Paul and I don't ever have to do anything, which is lovely.
Normal. That's normal.
And I might have told you this before, because I think when we talked about our parents, I think it was it might have been my grandparents, it might have been great-grandparents who had bought plots of land at a Jewish cemetery whenever. And I think for my dad or whoever, it might have been my uncle, because my mom's side of the family is all buried in one spot. I think my uncle was like, that's your grandpa? That's Grammy? And I'm going to be next to your mom. Whoa! It's kind of weird, especially when they point at the empty spot on the ground. So
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, Magic Mike was close to that, and
We
your
went
mom
through
was not
it.
a spring chicken, and you lost your dad.
I lost my dad 2 years ago today.
Oh,
That's
dang,
a
that
good
sucks.
topic. I know it. But my parents don't want burials. They want cremation. Well, my dad. No, I take that back. My dad did want a burial, and we couldn't give it to him. So it's not a bad idea to have something planned out, especially if you're not a lotto winner that can pass down millions of dollars. You know what I mean? Or Randy Ostra.
I wonder how common that is, because I would think, our grandparents' generation and maybe even our parents' generation, like that seemed like a regular thing, like that funerals were taken care of.
I think it was a racket.
People had like a plan, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was like 1920s crypto. Like,
yeah,
you get this
buy a
land.
timeshare.
Yes, yeah. You're like,
but I don't know how often people do that anymore. Because they don't have the money.
Their parents might.
It's almost predatory. I think they go after old people for things like that.
I'm sure.
Well,
it's just totally off topic, but didn't I see in the news recently, I don't know if you guys saw this, that somebody sued the family members of someone from a nursing home, like that passed away and couldn't pay their bill, and they like sued the living family for that. I'm like, come on.
That is very common for family to get the bills of the people.
That's awful.
My dad, I don't know if I've told you this. My dad sends my brother and I money that most people are given when they pass away, but there is a death tax, and my dad is dodging that. He also gives us the money because he watched my grandfather die in the house, and my dad was living there. Part of the reason so that he could take care of my grandfather, because of how expensive it is to be in a home. My dad gives us the money so that it's in my name.
And you don't know how good of care they're getting either.
Right. So that if they ever came after him, if he was there, he doesn't have it, and it would be hidden. I don't know if it was predatory in the sense they were going after old people, but I think it was just like, I think it was like crypto or timeshare, where my great-grandparents who might have bought this might have been 28 years old, but he planted that seed, like crypto's going to be everything. And also, when I was talking to my dad, we kind of joked, but he's like, he might come back to me today and say, forget the plot. Light it up. You can put me on the TV.
I do think, though, it's also a product of families who have the financial ability to do it, because it's very expensive.
Yeah.
Thousands, like tens of
a
thousands.
headstone. Like, I couldn't believe.
For multiple people, like reserving a spot for multiple people is
That's
really
why I just don't
expensive.
think it's affordable anymore. I don't
Well,
think people do that anymore.
This was all. Yeah. I mean, this was also decades and decades ago.
Also because we're running out of room, I would think.
That too. Have you?
know what I'm saying?
Have either of you been? You've been to a cemetery recently? Like when I went to my grandfather's funeral, like it's kind of.
They're crowded.
It's like. Well, I'm getting my teeth taken care of. Everything's crowding. Things are moving. The stones are like popping up.
You would die off seeing a cemetery in the South. Well, did Florida have the above ground cemeteries? Louisiana
Those
does.
freak me
I
out.
think so.
Louisiana does, and it's just a concrete jungle. Like it's like just concrete everywhere, and I'm like, there's a dead body right there.
I've thought about that as well. Like just generally speaking, in my morbid curiosity. What if we run out of space for all these people? Because
It's got to happen, right? Like,
have you ever looked up like how many people have lived and died on Earth?
no.
Eric, did you look that up?
I did. Yes.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because
Do you play trivia on a regular basis?
Turn me into a tree.
No, but I could.
I give you permission. Tell
I would
Thomas
love-
I want to turn into a tree.
Do you want to come back as a tree?
Compost.
Yeah, I'd rather be like cremated.
Send me
and
those
just-
hippity dippity places
Yeah.
in Colorado and turn me into compost.
Well, let's make
Yeah.
a let's
Put me
make
on the
a pact because you guys might be the only ones that I have. You can you can put me in the oven, not the kind from the bad one, but
Not the pizza oven.
no, put me and then give me a spot next to one of the dog crates or something.
Wouldn't it be so funny? It's like he's always loved Mama Mary's. So
We're gonna make him into a personal pan pizza,
You guys,
and then we'll eat you.
yeah, it's. I mean, my dad did want it, but that was part of. Bless you, Dad. I love you so much, Dad. But that was part of his delusion. Like, dude, you don't have any life insurance. We don't make any money.
Right.
Like, we didn't have that like like base of support where we were able to do things and have our parents financially back us. Like, not at all. I co-signed for my first car myself. Like, I didn't even have at 19, you know? So.
If somebody wants to prove to me that there will be a time where my body will rise from the ground and saving my corpse. Okay. Hi.
I don't like it. I don't like it. Change the subject. Because you just said your body would rise from the ground.
Maybe
and you're
that was
talking
God
about
telling me it will.
You're talking about your corpse, and then like lightning and thunder just crack.
Because otherwise I'm like, why are you saving my body? Like, just burn it up.
Bethany, you bring up another great aspect, economic aspect of this, which I had never thought about before. There is the scheme nature of selling you into the ground, but that's preying on people's religiosity
for sure, 100%.
Spirituality.
I think that's mostly
ridiculous.
the industry, because like Josh's grandparents, my grandparents, like, you know, maybe grandparent, great grandparent back, they still go visit the burial site, and it's like this like very like ceremonious type thing, and I'm like, unless someone's going to prove to me in front of my own two eyeballs that there's a reason to leave my body intact, why?
I guess, I don't know. It's
just going to sit there.
If my dad were buried, I would want to go. Like, I wish I had a place I could go to where I feel like I could feel connected.
And yes,
and
there are people that do that. There are people that are like, I don't necessarily need that because I can do that at home. I have my own like spiritual connection with the people that have gone. Like,
and I don't think that's so much religion as it is what Alex is explaining, where there is the
grieving process.
Yeah, well, that finality. And you know that they're there in some way, and they are. Their bones are there. But I think that there's a religious push, too.
Some people need that closure, too.
Because certain religions, I don't think, will allow people to be cremated. And this part of death is part of the process of life. And, oh, yeah, by the way, for $10,000, we can give you blankety blank.
I mean, multiple industries. It is just industry, though. It's just taking advantage of you in the worst time possible. So you're like stuck with this body unless the hospital. I mean, honestly, I called Dad delusional and then just.
Mother Nature is like, change the subject.
Ungrateful child.
I'm not home ever, and I think my brother goes to visit my mom, and it's a bit of a trip too. And I think my uncle goes to see my Grammy.
Is she in a Jewish cemetery?
Yes. Yeah. Everybody is specific Jewish cemeteries, but I've never felt the need to go. Like when I'm home, like I always thought this, and maybe it was because I was away for so long. And granted, I was just calling then. But if I want to think about my mom, I'm doing it right now.
Yeah. And that's kind of how I feel. Like my immediate.
I'm saying like the subject is creepy.
My immediate family, like we didn't have that type of tradition. Like my grandma is down Door Street, but like we've never gone to the burial site to like do anything. So like I don't necessarily need that in my psyche or part of, you know, my process of remembering loved ones and stuff. It's just not something that I grew up with. I don't need it. But okay, I'm like,
hear me out.
Yeah.
What if it was Josh? And there was a place where his physical body was still there.
But
Josh must be cremated and put next to his tools.
But it's not him, and I can't physically talk to him. And I think maybe for me it might be worse, thinking like, oh, you're there, but I still can't touch you, talk to you, see you. Gotcha. Like, is that more torturous on me than just like having my own spiritual like memories and communicating through whatever way I want? Like,
do you guys want to see something horrific?
No.
Let me show you something.
Not really.
There's some weird shit going on. I don't know if I want to see that.
All right, well, let me just tell you this. I'll describe it. So I have a
picture.
We're
talking about death.
I have a picture when I was home in 2015.
Oh, yeah, I want to see that.
Of my mom dying in home hospice.
Oh, no, I don't want to see that.
No, I don't want to see that.
I think you shared it before.
Oh, no, I didn't. Oh. No, my brother would never talk to me again because this is like, my mom is unrecognizable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I took it because it was a part of my mom's life.
Yeah.
And there is something scientific about it that I wanted to see, and it not a good memory, but it is a memory. It's the same reason why maybe one of you told me, like, no, keep the pictures of Lindsay and whatnot on the phone. They were good memories.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have it on my phone somewhere, but I don't know if I want to look at it.
The other one I have is, it was a sunny day.
It was. Look at that.
I made sure my brother didn't
I
see me.
haven't been to many sunny day funerals.
But I have pictures
like Devil Star David.
of my mom's coffin, and yeah, and it's weird. Like, I knew that my mom was in there, and I wondered what she looked like.
But she didn't have an open casket.
No, you don't in my religion.
Oh, okay.
But I think of
I
more
wish
like
they didn't.
the
Oh my god. Does that
mechanics.
bother you? That
It's when they
Just
close it. I don't understand the dramatics of, like, you have an open casket and then at some point, so the funeral begins and then you walk down, you see the person, you say your goodbyes, and then before the funeral begins, before the prayers start, they come and fucking close
I
the
know,
casket
dude, I'm telling
and
you.
lock it.
I don't understand. Like, if I'm gone, I'm gone. I want to do a celebration of life. Don't stand around and stare at my dead corpse and then just like get more sad. Yeah, like when they close the cat, I'm like,
just
don't, like, if I'm dead, I'm dead. I'm gone. Don't look at me after that point. Like, just know that I'm gone and have a celebration of life and all the things that you remember. And I'm like, I hate open caskets.
Have you been to those funerals where there's like outbursts?
Yes.
Oh my God!
What
It's
kind?
always at that time.
It's awful.
So my family, God bless, not my mom's side, my dad's side. I mean, the outbursts in those moments.
The
where
crying?
I mean, but like nurses
But like
have
hysterical.
to come in, like,
Like people are like,
no.
they're falling
like
out.
getting up, falling out on the floor. It's because of that. It's
Yeah.
because they close the casket during the ceremony. It's so stupid.
It's just that extra, like,
it's ceremonial only. Like, it's not.
but it's just that much more
Have you ever
traumatic.
seen that?
No, I have not been to a lot of funerals. I've been to a lot of weddings. In 2011, somebody that I was working in radio with in Detroit, great guy. He was like, kind of like Floyd. Like he did all the bars, hosted all the bars and everything. Kind of like A-Dub. He got hit by a car.
Oy.
I think it was truly an accident. No drinking and driving, just a dark, rainy night,
Yeah.
and didn't recover. So I got called out. He and I weren't super close, but our friends we were all close. So I got invited to come out, and there were some hysterical people. Actually, a guy that I DJ'd with a ton who became very close with this guy when he walked in, I tried to, say hello, and he didn't. He was in another world, in a world of sadness and tears. And then I got into the line. By the way, to give you evidence of Floyd and A-Dub, it was like a tailgate in the fucking parking lot. People were drinking heavily.
Do it
Was
up,
it
though.
black
That's
people?
what I'm saying.
No, maybe some. But it was like they were
That's what we
club
do.
people.
That's what we do.
Like,
That's
Go
what you
right to
gotta
the car
do.
and get the liquor.
This is before, during, and after. So I get in line, and there's a lot of people there. Very small, like in the room of with the casket and the chairs. It was standing room only.
Oh, yeah.
Like it was asses to elbows and everything. So I couldn't see as I was in line, and I get up there. I'm like, "Oh, wasn't expecting open casket." There's my friend.
It's jarring.
Like
It's jarring.
pale white and perfect looking, and some people put their hand on him.
People, I've seen some weird shit go down. Like, people kiss their loved ones, they touch them, they like
I don't know.
talk to. I
don't know what I would do if it was Thomas or my mom. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah,
what
I don't know.
I don't know what I would do.
Maybe that's why I took the picture of my mom and I sat with her a lot as she was dying. I gave her morphine. In fact, I don't think I ever told you this. So I was fascinated. Like, how do we die? Because the only way we see death is somebody getting shot on a TV show or something like that. I was fascinated. Like, how does someone die? And I read up on it, and I learned about
I've witnessed it at least
sad.
twice. The long process of it
the
happening.
death rattle.
Yep.
So I was asleep, and it was 3:00 in the morning, and Paul comes up to get me, and he says, something's going on. I'm like, and I could hear my mom, and I guess it's the oxygen leaving the lungs. It's the opposite of what you think you're hearing. Just this curdling, like someone hawking up mucus repeatedly and it was going on for 3 hours. And my uncle had come over, my dad came over the house, and it was exhausting, and I was tired, and I felt rude, and maybe there's some disdain towards me to this day, but I was like, does anybody mind if I go back up to bed? Because there was nothing I could do.
And at that point, it's an inevitable thing.
Yeah, fuck yeah, I did. I was tired.
But in that situation, I would feel it's not necessarily your mom anymore in the recognizable sense. So some people can shut that off, and they're like, your mom, even though she's laying there alive, it's not your mom.
Her consciousness is gone.
Right, in the recognizable sense. So it's inevitable. It's coming. Like, I think Gerke went through this with his mom that just passed away recently. Like, you reach the point where it's going to happen. You've had the time to get the closure and, like, separate the situation. And then, you were okay. You were okay to leave this. You're like, I'm out.
I went up to bed. I think I woke up. So this is all. I think it wrapped up 6 in the morning, early in the morning, not in the middle of the night when it began. I think I woke up around 10. I came downstairs like I would when I was a kid. There was my mom, dead.
Yeah.
Because the funeral people had not come to collect her yet, and I just kept walking because, like you said, I had that closure. Like,
right.
To me, it might as well have just been. This sounds awful. It might as well have just been like something in the living room, but I had sat with her for a week watching her die.
Right.
And
right.
I don't think that it's awful. I mean, it's unique. It's certainly unique. I mean, I got saved from my dad because it was a pandemic, so I was only allowed to be in there for 20 minutes, and then I had to leave.
Yeah.
And he was just watching Animal Planet, like just chilling, watching TV, scratching his forehead. But it depends on who you are. Like, it really, there was also a part of me that just couldn't be there.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I probably could have gone every day and been there for 20 minutes, but there was a part of me that couldn't be there. So I was there. Like, I got calls every day, and I was on the phone, and I was on video calls, but I just couldn't. I couldn't see that, like, I couldn't
progression.
See the life leave. Because in some cases, especially in nursing homes, when they're actively dying, the nursing homes stop feeding them and drinking, giving them fluids.
Yes.
Like, they stop everything, and they allow their body to really pass away from, like, dehydration and
natural
let it go,
causes.
yeah.
And they're saving you money.
Yeah. But that is, my grandma passed in that same way. I was in the house when she had passed in her home, and I could remember the sounds.
In my mom's dying year, so it was in January. I remember exactly where I was. We had some bigwigs in town who liked me a lot. Went over to Dirty Bird, and I forget how they had. I think my dad told me that she had stage 4 lung cancer. But I think you guys know this. Like, I was just waiting for my mom to die. She didn't take care of herself. Smoked forever. She called me, teared up a little bit. Stage 4 cancer. Asked around a little bit. 6 months. Lo and behold, it was about 6 months. I went home about 4 weeks later to visit for a couple of days. Went back home in June. It was kind of like I could go in at home at any time. Maybe I was home another time, but I do remember going home for how many ever days, coming back, and literally as soon as I dropped the stuff off downtown, took Diddy outside, my dad's like, "You're gonna have to come back," and I did. And I can wrap up my thoughts on all this stuff, and I think I've told you this story before. The absolute, and I say this tongue in cheek, but it would have been horrific. And I never would have let myself live it down. The worst part of the experience was not watching. None of the things I've explained, nothing, was my mom laying there in the picture you didn't want to see, and Diddy leaping up on the bed.
Oh.
And it was this slow
Did you think
motion.
He was gonna hurt her or something?
I thought he was going to kill her.
Uh-huh.
My mom was dying.
But
and,
she would have loved. She would. You know what I
But
mean?
she was
loved
probably
Diddy.
glad he did that. Yeah.
But
She loved Diddy.
if there's any kind of miracle that I believe in, and she did love Diddy, I think I've showed you a picture of
Yeah.
Mom where
Because he knew she was sick.
They're sitting next to each other.
Diddy sitting like a bird up on the top of the couch next to her, so proud of him, and she did love her. And when he was in the air, it was like 4 years, and I couldn't do anything. And thank God he landed in between her legs, because if it was on her, he would have killed her. She was dying and frail.
Yeah.
He would have killed her. And thank God he didn't. And that's where I go, you know what? Somebody was giving Natalie one last close piece with Diddy.
Yep. See?
But like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like my thought process is like, this is not unnatural, but your perspective is very unique. You know what I mean? Like you say, you're right in saying like, I hope I didn't offend anyone that I went up and went back to bed.
Well,
but you're right in the insight but that's a unique response. But you remember literally at your detail, like your level of detail, and that's in my opinion telling. You know what I
Right.
mean? So there is significance in what happened and your experience with it. It's just not your traditional, response.
let me take some credit for myself.
Please do.
I'm pretty observant anyway.
No.
But I remember reading like the Iron Man. I brought my iPad. Obviously, I blew through like all the because I didn't have anything to do. Like they told me, do not work. I could go to Planet Fitness, and that was it. And I didn't have friends to visit, and I wanted to stay around just in case. But I remember reading the Iron Man comics that I did vividly. I have the pictures of the dogs upstairs, and like I remember where my hat was. And
Everyone processes that
Yeah.
experience, that grieving differently.
I don't think it was me processing grief more so the experience,
Yeah.
because there's very little grief with I grieved my mom dying when I was 12, and I took
like
her
everyone
fucking Winston lights out of the cabinet and threw them away because I knew they were going to kill her.
Right.
Because I was the generation, which is scary now, whereas if you fucking look at a girl, you're going to get AIDS.
Right.
If you go to a gay club, you're going to
If
get
you
AIDS.
look at a cigarette,
If you smoke cigarettes,
you're going to have that thing in your throat. Yep.
And lo and behold, it caught my mom.
Something is weird. That light flickered. I don't know if anybody noticed the light flicker. Something is weird. It's
Listen, I'm down if y'all want to. If all y'all ghosts want to visit,
something
like
is weird.
hang out on the pod.
Our
But
parents are meeting. They're introducing each other and like listening to their fucking kids like talk about them. God, something's not right.
Somebody's got to put their foot down and open up some retail downtown.
I agree.
Oh my goodness.
I thought, isn't more supposed to go in like that Industry Square that's like across from the Seagate Center? You know what I'm saying?
Summit. You talking about Summit Street?
Yeah, I think
Fort
they were Fort Industry. I think they were going to put some retail in there. Were they
The
not?
Bobcat Bunnies
Bunnies
will
is
eventually
going
be there, but it's not enough.
Like,
And
don't get me wrong. I love eating. I love eating and drinking. But we have enough
Well, it's more
restaurant
drinking
bars.
than eating.
We need other things to do
We do
downtown.
need retail. You're right. Some boutiques.
I bring it up because congrats. It was a COVID project of, I guess, somebody that I know decently on Facebook, her husband. They opened up a new place, Quenched and Tempered. It's on Jackson, which is a different spot. Good for them. But I texted Alex this morning. I tire of things faster than others. I'm over craft breweries, murals, and mixed use facilities.
I'm never over murals, but I agree that we don't need any more breweries. We don't need any more restaurants. We do need retail
Downtown.
or activities like stuff. Get an escape. Why don't we have an escape room?
I'm not going in a damn
But
escape
like
room.
like that
I
that
do.
type of stuff where
An
like you can
arcade?
do stuff.
That's
an
Bobcat.
adult arcade.
That's Bobcat Bonnie's.
Let's do stuff
is it?
downtown.
But no. I don't want social stuff.
A bowling alley, a fun one.
You don't want social stuff, but the rest of us want social stuff.
Oh, but because you know what there is with social stuff? More drinking. And there are enough places to do that downtown. And when I had a coffee with Alicia at Fallon Fodder back in the spring,
Yeah.
she told me they've started to get the word out. Like, this is going to collapse on itself without retail. Because one by one, some of these places will not make, like, I don't know if downtown needs another brewery.
It doesn't.
I don't like. It needs.
We do know that it doesn't.
The stuff that's there is good. Like, don't get me wrong. But I agree, we need stuff other than that.
You need places to shop and spend money
Agreed.
that don't include alcohol. In fact,
Right.
now it would like I think I said somewhere or whatever. It's like, in fact, I want to have these places so that we can drunkenly spend or recklessly spend locally rather than on Amazon.
I agree. I think we need some boutiques, some reasonable
Yeah.
boutiques, like but not like
One of
Brighton
the shoe places.
or whatever, like a tennis shoe boutique.
Like the guys in Sylvania that
Yes.
move the store to the mall.
Yes.
And there's a place on
Yes.
Monroe next to the ability. Like you get a sneaker place, you get a glam shoe place.
Something
Like-
like maybe a hipster clothing place or something, but we do and maybe like a secondhand store, like a thrifting something. You know what I mean? Just
Yep.
All that stuff.
Something. You're right, and I would love that area where Bobcat Bonnie's is going because you really can go in and out of a lot of places.
Right.
Imagination Station is there. Promenade Park is there. You can go in and out of a lot of places. You can go eat at Dirty Bird and then walk down. You know, I agree 100%.
Yep.
Adams Street has some shopping places.
Yeah,
Like I go to
handmade.
Jumode all the time,
Yeah,
handmade.
and you
The
can walk
Vintage
up and
Vibes is
down.
right across
There
from
you
the
go.
school. Like,
That needs to continue.
Agreed.
And
but
granted,
that
Further
needs
in.
to continue, not just in Uptown.
like
Yeah.
there's a disconnect between uptown and downtown in the sense that you don't really want to. There's no reason to walk it other than to walk it. Like, you're not going to stop anywhere. Between the library and what you just described and Wesley's, it's a desert.
I mean, look at those two gorgeous buildings sitting there. The Spitzer building and then the other building that I used to call the Fifth Third Bullet.
The Four Corners are going to get redeveloped.
I mean, that would be another perfect spot for like four corners of retail to go up there.
The Spitzer Mall used to be a mall.
Yeah.
I need a bowling alley down there, like a fun one too, not one that.
Yeah.
Not so Lucky Strike.
Yeah, I like Lucky Strike.
Well, I mean, not because we're Toledo, so we'll just have a.
Oh, not so Lucky
Yeah.
Strike. Clever. Open it with Barry. Hi,
Boom.
Barry.
I asked him. If there was no Terry, I think he'd move out here.
He should.
He
He would
would.
have so much fun out here.
He would.
No, he wouldn't.
Nothing against Paul, but
He would. But
he's not going to leave his grandkid though.
I asked him. And I seriously asked him, like, would you give any thought to coming out here? Because for half of my life, more than, I have not lived anywhere near him.
Right.
But
could not do it.
Now he's got a granddaughter, and he's got Terry.
She's so cute, by the way.
Is she?
What?
And
I
she
want a
looks like
picture of
Paul.
Terry. I
What?
don't know what Terry looks like.
That's my dad's lady.
I know, but I need a pic.
I don't have a pick. Uncomfortable
I miss
family
your dad.
moment. That first time when he came out, when he gave me that sheet, 2013, Terry came with him, and I kind of got surprised by it. He didn't give me the heads up. He didn't give me the heads up.
Whoa.
There was a Terry at all.
There's like an unwritten rule that you got to give a heads up
Like,
before
what's
you.
the problem?
It
Like, this is my side hoe.
It was
No.
equally as now. It was a. I'm sorry, you're dating a black person, kind of.
Terry's black.
No.
I was like, oh, Barry
Yes,
just went up.
Barry! Yes!
Barry just got way
Wait, no,
more
no, no, no.
interesting.
But she does have stories. Like, I think I told you both that my dad had like a life moment 2 weeks ago when he met Charles Barkley, who was her neighbor.
Yes! So
Yeah.
exciting. That's
Yeah.
very cool.
I was very happy for him because they have dated for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember him telling me early on, Charles Barkley lives here. I'm like, Dad, he lives like 8 places, but he does.
But okay.
He does hang around.
But eventually,
Philadelphia.
he is here.
What are weekend plans? What's Time Out Girl doing?
I have no
She
idea.
in trouble?
No.
Oh.
You know what? We've turned a corner. I think timeouts have. We're not teething anymore. We're getting more sleep, or we're needing less sleep. I don't know which way that goes. But she's been a gem, knock on wood, lately. So we haven't had to instill timeouts recently.
How old are you?
Me?
Yeah.
I'll be 37.
All right, you're not going to be a young grandmother. You're fine.
No. No.
Mary, the pretty girl that works here, the sales girl.
Yeah.
Her daughter is going to South Carolina, And Mary's 40. I'm like, I hope you gave her the riot act. I do not want to be a grandmother when you're a freshman in college and I'm 40.
Yeah,
There's a TikTok that's really funny, and the mom is giving her son the talk, and she's like, now make sure you wear a condom. And he's like, Mom, I'm 15. And then mom goes,
Where
and
to?
the son is like putting it together, and he's like, oh, and
Yeah,
that cracks
that's
me
hilarious.
up.
What are you doing this weekend?
Michelle is graduating with her master's degree in
Whoop,
education.
Congrats.
So I'm going to Bowling Green's graduation ceremony on Saturday, and we're going to have a party for her. And then I believe we're going to go to the Wood County Fair. I did tell my mom I would go to the concert downtown with them, but I'd rather go to the fair.
I know we're probably going to the zoo because
'Cause her
it's
boyfriend
Arts
is
Gone
still
Wild this
here.
weekend.
Oh,
And
nice.
next weekend, right?
No, it's just. Oh no, I'm sorry. That's next weekend. I don't know what we.
Ooh, God, I want to go to that.
Okay, so that's not. So what is this weekend? What am I missing?
This weekend is quiet because the next 3 weekends are Jeep
Bananas.
Fest,
Insane.
Pride, Gaff.
Bananas.
Then Labor Day weekend.
So what is?
There's not much.
No.
Is the Wood County Fair with the tractor pull championships?
No, that's the 19th. So that's the weekend of the 19th. But they do still have tractor pulls during the fair. So
I'll shout out my friend Thea, she wrote and directed and is putting on. It started as a screenplay, I believe, but now it's a play, and she's putting it on at the Rep. It's called The Definition of This, I believe. So that's
I've
running
heard about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's opening this weekend. I am doing that on Sunday. So check that out. But
Who's the
Thea Gravik?
Who's the director?
she's directing it.
Oh, good for her.
That's
Yeah.
the one with the illustration where they're holding hands behind I saw that.
Yep. So I'm doing that Sunday. I know that, but I guess I don't know what I'm doing. I thought I had something to do tomorrow.
Last thing I know you hate, but
Yes.
What is it?
Get it out.
The world is unpredictable. First of all, my first prediction: Game of Thrones. Who's the king that we liked?
Robert Stark of the North, or
No, later on, like season 7, when the Red Keep burned, or the who's the good king, the younger kid?
oh, Tommen.
Yeah. If monkeypox mutates and goes airborne, I'm pulling a Tommen and going out the window.
No, you are not. Stop.
That's my one thing. The other thing is the jobs report today. I know, I just lost you.
500,000 new jobs.
The jobs report was
I
supposed
watched it.
to go backwards or slow, and it was going to be, the economy's slowing down. It went up.
So what? Explain this to me.
Okay,
I don't know where you're
so-
going with this.
There were supposed to be like X amount of jobs created in this month.
Okay.
And they were supposed to be fewer jobs created than in recent months to show, look, places are tightening. Instead, it went up like a couple 100,000 more than expected.
It was supposed to show conservative spending on the behalf of like companies and the
Look,
economy.
I can tell you right now that's not happening.
in the economy, and it wasn't. It's not
No.
doing that.
So it's
Because the people that have money have a lot of money,
Yeah.
and the people that don't have money don't have money and they have less money.
and they need jobs.
and we might have talked about this briefly in some way. I am now kind of convinced, and I've been kind of right. Like we peaked when I said we would peak about the gas prices.
We're at 380. I'm giving that
I
to
got
you, but
$3.99.
the rest of anything is astronomically expensive.
But it should start to come down now that the gas prices have.
Should, but will it? No, because the companies are going to get comfortable with the prices that we're paying now, and they're going to think that that's sustainable. And I'm telling you right now, it's not.
You're not wrong. Like things will they're going to come down from here, but they will be higher than before all this happened.
For sure.
Unfortunately,
But I'm curious, and I know we're trying to wrap up, but I wonder how many individuals went out and got jobs with inflation that weren't, like we talked about that population of people that, like, where is everybody? Why are people not working? Here they are. Now they're going to get jobs because gas was too expensive and groceries are ridiculous and they can't sit home anymore.
this is what I've said all along.
There they are.
I prefer it this way because at least you can go do that as opposed to not having the opportunity to get that and things are just regularly priced like
Right.
2008 all over again.
Yeah.
So this is all like super weird. Like up is down, down is sideways. And it like, because with the Fed and the interest rates, they were doing this so that they wanted to, like the other thing was unemployment is the lowest in decades. And
How is that though?
because more people are getting jobs, less people are filing for unemployment. The Fed raising interest rates, and they have said this before, and this unfortunately is a fact of life in the economy. With the unemployment rate at like 3% for the economy to be healthy, and what they're trying to do is to get it to like 5.2. So that means people lose their jobs. You want to raise unemployment, but it's just the way the economics work. So I can only imagine the Fed going there. God damn it, raise it 7%, which we don't want. But my next prediction is...
He's so freaking cute.
He's going to be an answer.
He doesn't have a lot of teeth. He might have won the lottery.
He's lost many more.
All right, my last thing. I think many of the layoffs will come from mid and slightly upper level executives. Walmart fired a bunch of executives. They make a lot of money. You can automate a lot of that, or give the people who make a lot of money more jobs. Because I think the last thing companies want to do is, after begging to hire people for so long, is to let go of them. And they're terrified. They've had such a hard time firing people. They're not going to let go of those people.
I mean, I would hope so.
If there are any executives listening to this podcast, be concerned. Everybody have a good weekend.
Hello.
Bye, Andrew.
Bye.